Mysterious circles in crops. They first showed up in Britain. Now they're right here in Lethbridge. In fact, they're right in our backyard, so to speak. Some people will write off the rings as a hoax, but as Doug Voth reports tonight, they do raise eyebrows and warrant some serious investigation.
Could it really happen in southern Alberta? Unexplained rings in fields of wheat, smack in the middle of Lethbridge.
We've got quite a mystery in our hands here in Lethbridge.
The discovery was made late Wednesday by farmer Hugh Laycock.
Got started combining here yesterday afternoon. The first round, I was looking outside the field to make sure the edge was there and didn't notice things. Next time I came around the right way, and here off to the right were these silly holes. So I don't know, gee, that looks like these things we've been reading about all the time.
In no time at all, the investigation was underway. As curious neighbors looked on, Rick Ponemar, president of the Lethbridge Astronomy Club, and member Gordon Faulkner were on the scene taking measurements and samples.
The ones in the circle or outside edge look different than the unaffected green. Okay, there's a normal green.
Yeah, I don't think we saw anything that was man-made there. The field is flattened. The rings are in one's clockwise, one's counterclockwise, and they're very, very weird.
Aerial photos were taken with the assistance of the Lethbridge Fire Department. Agriculture Canada was on the scene, but Ken Richards could offer no explanation.
It certainly doesn't appear to be anything caused by pest insects or plant pathogens or even a wind phenomenon, because it's the only place in the field that it's occurring, so nothing very obvious.
A special team of investigators from the Alberta UFO Study Group is now on its way to Lethbridge in an effort to determine what caused the flattened circles of grain.
Actually, I've had 3 calls of some people that were asking if there was anything to the northeast about 5-6 days ago. Oblong shape, possibly. They didn't think it was an airplane, but they didn't know, or they thought it might be a planet or something like that.
So, are the mystery circles a practical joke, a natural phenomenon, or a visit from other beings? Well, we'll probably have to wait for the results from the special team from Edmonton that's coming to have a look at them. Doug Voth, News First.
Good evening. UFO investigators from Edmonton made a hurried trip to Lethbridge today, following yesterday's report of mysterious circles in a field. There are many theories as to what caused the circles to appear in a field of grain, but still no answers. Doug Voth reports.
Wow. What is it? Why is it there?
Crop circle investigators from the Alberta UFO Study Group in Edmonton arrived outside the 2 and 7 studios this morning. Gordon Kajak and Gary Farmer are collecting samples for scientific study that they hope will answer what caused the mysterious Lethbridge crop circles.
We're trying to find an explanation in terms that you, that the scientist next door, and that the person in the house down the street can accept. But so far, that explanation has been eluding us.
For the past decade, crop circles have been showing up in England, and more recently, circles like this one near Winnipeg have been turning up in Canada. The theories on what causes the circles range from UFO landings to unusual weather conditions called mini bursts, like mini tornadoes, to strange soil conditions that just cause the crop to fall over. But the cause for most of these circles remains unexplained. Some circles have been explained as a hoax by would-be jokers, but Kajak says these ones appear to be a phenomenon.
Eventually, you're going to have to walk over part of it, and when you do, the chances are it's going to end up breaking it, especially when it's as brittle as it is here right now. What we've got here, for example, is we've got something that almost resembles a pictogram. We've got one circle, we've got another big circle, and we've got 2 satellite circles connected by a small path. That seems to be an evolving phenomena. Each year, they seem to get a little bit more elaborate.
Kajak and Farmer will be taking their samples back to Edmonton for analysis. It could be several weeks before we get any answers, if we get any answers. Doug Voth, News First.
Well, the wheat fields next to our studio on 28th Street North has been a very busy place over the last couple of days. People from all over, including the mayor of Lethbridge, have come to see the 4 circles that mysteriously appeared in the field.
Yeah, it sure has. Maybe this is Lethbridge's new tourist attraction.
Throughout the day, carload after carload of people from as far away as Red Deer and Calgary have come to look at the four circles and speculate as to what caused them.
I don't know. I certainly don't think it's extraterrestrial beings or anything like that.
No?
I just think it's probably more nature than anything else.
Too different. How could nature cause that? Yeah. Weather conditions wouldn't be able to do that. And if a weather condition would have done that, it would break some of the things. And they said that it wasn't broken, it was just dry and laid down, not broken.
We're down from Red Deer, and we thought this might be a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we might, never have a chance to see again. So.
Did you buy the UFO?
I almost do. You wonder, maybe a communication tower there, and I'm sure they're curious.
Actually, I kind of tend to believe that it possibly might have been a UFO.
Oh, you like to think that one?
Well, I tend to believe that I think I've seen one at one time, so I think so.
Oh, I think like my husband does. I think maybe it's Mother Nature, wind, or something along that line.
It'd be silly to think that we're the only ones around in this universe and other universes and what have you. There's got to be some sort of life somewhere.
Is southern Alberta home to a wild prankster? Or is an alien family thinking this would be a nice place to live?
I don't like it. That's all I can say. It's a little too close to home.
With the discovery of this site half a kilometer west of Lethbridge Sunday and these four circles near Warner Tuesday, there have been 6 crop circle locations identified in southern Alberta. Roy Tetzlaff made the most recent discovery while combining Tuesday evening. Roy doesn't buy the theory that the circles are a practical joke.
Right brain like this, I think it would have been pretty obvious if anybody would have, if it was a hoax or something.
One large and one small circle run clockwise. The other pair lays counterclockwise on the Tetzlaff farm. The circles on Jenny Skinner's farm all turn clockwise, but they're joined by narrow paths where the grain has been laid flat.
We've been farming here since the early 60s, and there's been lots of whirlwinds. We've never, ever seen anything like that. And why would there be 3 spots, 2 big ones, 1 little one, with bars in between? Whirlwinds don't do that. There's not an indentation at all, anywhere around the area. Nothing. And you step on a straw, it comes back up.
Gordon Kajak from the Alberta UFO Study Group investigated these circles, the first that were discovered, 200 meters outside 2 and 7's Lethbridge studios. He says his group is planning another investigative trip this week to look at the latest findings.
Since his visit to Lethbridge, Kajak says he has received several reports of people suffering headaches after they visited this site. However, it has yet to be determined whether that's a case of energy radiated by the circles or just hyperactive imagination. Doug Voth, News First. Since his Lethbridge visit, Kajak says he's received several reports from people who say they had severe headaches after visiting this site. However, it's yet to be determined whether that was a case of energy radiated by the circles or just hyperactive imaginations. In Lethbridge, Doug Voth, News First.
This year's harvest is on in southern Alberta. Prairie farmers are rushing to get the near-record crop off the field before the weather gets nasty. But this year's harvest is peculiar. It has reaped one of the biggest mysteries to hit here in decades.
Wow. What is it?
Circles of wheat have appeared at several locations in the Lethbridge area.
We've got quite a mystery in our hands here in Lethbridge.
The first crop circle formation was discovered by farmer Hugh Laycock.
First round, I was looking outside the field to make sure the edge was there and didn't notice things. Next time I came around the right way, and here off to the right were these silly holes. So I don't know, gee, that looks like these things we've been reading about all the time.
In no time at all, the word was out, and the hunt for answers was on. Armed with a measuring tape and an acute curiosity, the president of the Lethbridge Astronomy Club began the investigation. What caused these strange circles? Is it a weather phenomena, a soil condition, a thundering herd of gophers, or has E.T. developed an affection for southern Alberta?
I don't think we saw anything that was man-made there. The field is flattened. The rings are in one's clockwise, one's counterclockwise, and they're very, very weird.
As Lethbridge City Police roped off the area, a pair of crack UFO experts from Edmonton arrived. Gordon Kijak and Gary Farmer began by taking soil and wheat samples for further study.
I'd love to explain these, and we're certainly going to keep trying. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to find an explanation in terms that you, that the scientist next door, and that the person in the house down the street can accept. But so far, that explanation has been eluding us.
For the past decade, crop circles have been appearing in England. And more recently, crop circles like these ones near Winnipeg have been showing up in Canada. Last year, 27 crop circle formations were reported across the country. But the Lethbridge mystery goes a step further.
We've got something that almost resembles a pictogram. We've got one circle, we've got another big circle, and we've got two satellite circles connected by a small path. That seems to be an evolving phenomena. Each year, they seem to get a little bit more elaborate.
Wheat scientists from Agriculture Canada are stumped.
Certainly doesn't appear to be anything caused by pest insects or plant pathogens or even a wind phenomenon, because it's the only place in the field that it's occurring, so nothing very obvious.
But there are more surprises. As the harvest continued, several more reports of strange crop circles came in. These ones west of Lethbridge were discovered by a baffled Jenny Skinner.
I think it's something from space, you know, I mean from the air, but I don't know. I don't like it. So all I can say it's a little too close to home.
Then, near the town of Warner, farmer Roy Tetzlaff found this group of circles.
Ripe grain like this, I think it would have been pretty obvious if anybody would have, you know, if it was a hoax or something. I don't know, something had to land here to do it. I have no idea. If it would have been a helicopter or anything like that, we would have heard it because our house is right close here, so.
Another family, this time near Okotoks, came across this flattened wheat during an evening walk. News of the crop circles have led to a number of alleged UFO sightings in the region. People convinced they saw something in the sky.
The thing that really startled me about it, like it could have been, to me, it could have been anything until it did like a 360 in the air. It moved up like this, and it was like it was right there in front of my eyes.
Experts say it's not unusual for UFO reports to skyrocket after a mysterious occurrence.
People get some acknowledgement that something might be happening that they're tending to believe in, they tend to come forward and sort of put out what they have experienced, perhaps in an attempt to get confirmation for their beliefs.
And so, like an army of curious ants, hundreds of people have swarmed to the sites for a closer look.
Actually, I kind of tend to believe that it possibly might have been a UFO.
I think maybe it's Mother Nature.
It'd be silly to think that we're the only ones around in this universe. And
even after receiving some results on the soil and wheat samples, Gordon Kijak is still perplexed.
We still don't know what's causing the crop circles here. We're not ruling out human involvement, but if there is any, they're a lot smarter than we are because we can't see how they're doing it.
And so the riddle remains, with more questions than answers. Is there a wild prankster in the area? Or is this southern Alberta's close encounter of a third kind? For Real West, I'm Paul Bizzetta in Lethbridge.
I think now they'd like a working agreement, and the other is the co-op we have over at Pocatello. But we hope that possibly we'll get one of those clubs to go with the expansion of Denver.
Now, what would that mean to the Pioneer League to have Lethbridge back in the fold?
Oh, it would cut our travel down, and we'd have a great Western division. We could put Great Falls and Lethbridge and Medicine Hat and possibly Helena or something in that division. We'd have a great northern division with a lot less travel.
I guess rivalry way with Medicine Hat, it'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Well, it should be good because you're about 90 miles down the road.
What about beer sales? Is that something that's very important?
Well, beer sales are important. They would have had the the club that's in Salt Lake now would have been in Lethbridge had they had a special council meeting and okayed the beer, and they'd have been in there then.
When about was that?
Well, I think that I'd have to guess now that Salt Lake's been in our league about 6 years. I'd have to guess, Pete.
So it would have been shortly after the Dodgers left?
It would be right after they left, right?
Right. How did Lethbridge fare financially? Did they manage reasonably well?
When it was over with, I don't know the operation. I don't think they ever lost any money in the operation. But when they finally got rid of the club and the club was sold, the investors got all their money back. The investors in Lethbridge never lost any money.
We want the kind of regional facility that we've asked for, and I feel very strongly about it. Thank you very much, Mr.